Hi, thanks guys for being here. Very disappointing loss tonight. Give Oklahoma State credit. They, in that little spurt of the game, they made some big threes. Roy hit 3 in a row, and then I think Miller made 1. It's just kind of the same story that we have to get corrected. We have to do a better job keeping the ball out of our paint, and we have to finish possessions with rebounds and loose balls. We gave up 20 second chance points again, which makes it very difficult. 15 offensive rebounds. So teams are repeatedly getting many more shots at the basket than we are. 81 points should be enough. We scored 81 tonight. That should be enough. It's definitely on that other end of the floor that we got to get better. And I'm just disappointed because I feel like in our 2 losses, we did a lot to ourselves in those games, and that's not to discredit the other teams. The other teams made plays, and part of them is making you do those things. But we have to be much more disciplined, and that starts with me. I mean, it's at the end of the day, I'm the one coaching the team, so we have to be a more disciplined team. We got to be much tighter with our defense, our rebounding. It has been a stretch of a lot of games, so the hard part is we haven't really been able to physically practice a lot because we've played a lot of games and have had travel. So, but we do have a little bit of time now, and before we have a Big Ten game next week. So, I'm just down. I'm just frustrated, very disappointed in the loss tonight because we had the 6-point lead. I actually thought we did a pretty good job to start the second half to get the 6-point lead. Obviously, the flagrant foul was a tough break. Gave them 4. I think they got 4 free throws there. Because they had 2 in the ball, and we fouled right away. And then we had that little spurt where the game, got to 7 or 8 a couple times, and we kept fighting. But it's not good enough. We got to be much better if we want to be good teams.
Go to questions. Matt.
Coach, this is a great venue. It's an NBA arena, but it's also 12:20 in the morning right now. Would you schedule a game like this again?
Yeah, well, that was all dictated by television. So yes, I mean, we initially we were told we were going to play the first game, and Oklahoma State and I we were both very disappointed in television's decision to move the game where it was. But it is what we both had the similar thing. They had to go through it too, so it's not an excuse. But when we originally signed up for the game, we were told that we were going to be the first game. So and so did Oklahoma State. So both of us were frustrated about that. But at the end of the day, it is what it is, and you got to deal with it. And actually, in the NCAA tournament, a lot teams play late games. And that's how we kind of sold it to our guys. Like you look at those first round games in the NCAA tournament, there's games that start after 10 o'clock on the East Coast. So it's not an excuse, but obviously wasn't an ideal start time.
This year, Angelo Cervino's done a lot of little things today, 14 points, season high. What did you just make of his performance today?
Yeah, I thought he did a lot of good things getting to the basket. His improvement has been great. He had a great offseason. He's gotten stronger. He's finishing plays better, as you can see, getting to the basket. He did a lot of good things. Obviously, 4 missed free throws, it would have been a really good game turned into a great game. But I'm pleased with how he's playing. He's bringing energy. He's fighting. He's competing. And him actually getting his 4th foul hurt us, because we had to then sit him for a while, kind of in that bulk of the game when they got hot. And he's one of our better perimeter defenders.
Yeah.
Coach, just 3 of 19 from deep tonight. What can you guys do to scheme up better looks, or do you think it's more just an execution issue where you make those?
I mean, we scored 81. So, I mean, you'd love to shoot the ball better from 3. But, I mean, if you look at our numbers, guys, offensively, the first 7 games, pretty good offensive numbers. We're shooting pretty good percentage. We didn't shoot the ball great from 3 tonight, but, we at the end of the day, our most explosive offensive players do a lot of damage in the paint. Nick, AP, JR with his driving. And tonight we didn't shoot the ball great from the 3-point line, and that happens. That happens at times. They were 6 for 22, and that was hitting 4 in a row. So, This wasn't a game about the offense. It's not about scheming the offense. We scored over 40 in both halves. That's plenty enough to win a game if you play defense and rebound. And that was the story of the game.
I think as you said, I think the common denominators in the two close losses this season have been offensive rebounding and then also some struggles on defense.
Yep.
At this point, how much do you attribute some of those struggles to maybe the team's personnel, and what do you see on the other side, maybe some things that are fixable?
Yeah, I mean, it's always fixable. I mean, we played 7 games, so I mean, we're just starting our season, and disappointed to have a couple losses under our belt, but everything's always adjustable. Everything's always fixable. We got to practice. I'm looking forward. We don't play till Wednesday, I believe, to having some good practice time before our next game and hopefully clean some of the stuff up. We got to keep the ball out of our paint. We're getting driven a lot where it's causing a lot of rotations, which then we're getting in closeouts, and then that hurts us on the glass too, because when you get beat off the dribble and guys have to come rotate, then when they shoot the ball, that's free rebounders on the backside. So we got to control the ball a little bit better, and obviously there are many times where we're just not finishing plays in the paint. Guys have their hands up, we're going with one hand, we're knocking them out of bounds, we're not grabbing them. We've watched a lot of film on it. We got to continue to teach the technique. We had a huge free throw lockout late in the game. When they called the jump ball, I mean that was a huge play, and then they scored at the end of the clock. I think that's when Fowler hit his shot there from the foul line. You get that rebound. You don't know. It's a 1-possession game. So we have to fix it. We have to clean it up. That's what we plan to do. This was a great opportunity tonight against a good team. We didn't get it done. And, we got to get ourselves ready for a big game next week against Wisconsin.
Questions, Gavin?
Coach, you mentioned protecting the paint, keeping them out of the paint. There were a long stretch late in the first half and good amount of the second half without AP on the floor. Just curious what you made of his game tonight.
Well, he had the 2 fouls early, which was frustrating. He got the one on the first play of the game, which I thought was a tough call. But, so he sat. I think he only played – I know he sat the last 9 minutes. And so, I mean, I think he sat more than he played in the first half. I don't have the stat in front of me. But I thought in the second half he came back and did a better job. We tried to establish him, get him some – they were really sinking in on the post. Especially when I thought he made some pretty good passes, and obviously it's we got to continue to do a good job, finding him when he's open, and just like everybody else. I mean, we got to get better. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. Like we have to be more disciplined. We have to execute better on both ends of the floor. We have to finish plays. We came out of a timeout and turned it over on a side out of bounds that we drew up a play, and we didn't run it right. Those little things, those are the things I'm talking about where we have to tighten up, and we will. And it's the end of November. It's just frustrating because you don't want to have to lose games like this to get their attention in order to change it, but we're going to change it.
Coach, you mentioned the early second half kind of spurt where you guys led. What do you think was working there, and what do you think changed defensively and offensively? Yeah, well, I thought we had we got a few stops. I thought we got a few stops, and we were able to. Guys, we scored 81, so we were doing a pretty good job offensively. I know we didn't shoot the ball well, but offensively we were doing a good job. We were getting the ball into the paint. I thought we were attacking their paint. We were causing help. We were getting good shots. If we made threes, we probably would have scored in the 90s, right? If we made 3 more threes, we scored 90 points. So, the offense was fine. And I thought when we got the lead, we actually strung together a few stops. We just couldn't consistently keep that going. We got in foul trouble. We had to sit some guys. JR's, getting that 3rd foul on the flagrant was big because that was his 3rd foul. So then we had to sit him for a while. And, it was just tough, man. It was, I got to look at the film, but just from the naked eye, I just felt there were a lot of plays out there that were there to be made, and we just didn't make a lot of them, and that's why we got beat, and give Oklahoma State credit for that.
Time for a couple more questions, Matt.
I think Jaden's had a very strong start to the season, and then in the second half, he seemed to really struggle. Only 2 points, 1 for 4 field goal, and 3 assists with 1 turnover in 15 minutes in the second frame. What did you kind of see as the shift in his game there?
Well, I thought his 3rd foul, I thought that was a big play. Initially they called the foul on them. and then they went to the challenge and they called the flagrant. You know, and that was his third foul, and I thought him sitting a few minutes right there kind of got him out of rhythm. And at the end of the day, we want him to give what the defense is we want him to attack what the defense is given. And obviously we found some things with Nick, found some things with Angelo getting to the basket. But yeah, we need Jaden's production. We want to try to get him into double figures if we can. But I thought overall 6 assists. And I just have to look at the film and kind of see areas. But offensively, like I said, the story is not about offensive execution. It's about we got to be better defensively and we got to rebound. I mean, those are the two stories of this game. I mean, if you would have told me we were going to score 81 points and 40 in the first and 41 in the second, I would have said we would have had a great chance to win the game. And we got to get back to kind of get into our principles defensively and being airtight. We gave up 47 in the second half, which is entirely too much if we want to beat a good team.
One more question, Gavin.
Nick, you guys open Big Ten play next week at Wisconsin. On the defensive end, what do you take away from this game, and how do you guys shore up those issues moving into Big Ten play?
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to practice better. I mean, it's every game consistently. We're getting dominated on the glass, and I mean, it's just like as a player, it's as a foreman, you're supposed to dominate. It's pretty embarrassing, so you just have to fix that. Getting gaps, it's a mental thing, we just have to want to play defense. We have all the talent in the world. We put up 80 points a game. So yeah, shore up the defense, practice better.
Okay, that'll wrap us up.
All right, thank you guys. Thanks for coming, guys.